Welcome to the Mormon to Medium podcast, where we'll talk about spirituality, the paranormal, religion, and my journey going from Mormon to medium. I'm Nannette Ride. Thanks for listening. Now let's go have some fun.
Don't be afraid. Close your eyes. There's a moon overhead, but the sun will rise. Blood on our lips.
Hello and welcome. This is the Mormon to Medium podcast. I'm Brad and I am here with, well, not really here. We're actually in separate states. I'm in Georgia. Nan is at home in Utah. But I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Nannette.
Hi, guys. This is kind of nice, you know? We're here spiritually.
Yeah. It's a little bit
apart.
different. Yeah. It's weird not doing the show in the same room together, but I think that's the beauty of technology, right? We have the opportunity to do things like this that, hell, just a few years ago, I remember having a telephone that had the weird squiggly cord, right? And if you wanted privacy, you pulled the cord as far as you could into the other room. Because
you hide in a closet.
Exactly, because the main phone was like in the kitchen, right?
Everybody heard your conversation.
Exactly. And then it was really cool when you actually had a phone that you could put in separate rooms. You're like, oh, I got a phone jack in my bedroom.
But do you remember your phone number?
I do, actually.
Do
yeah,
you?
798-8097.
Mine was 374-8030.
Wow. My grandma's was 6904.
Nice.
So,
isn't that crazy how you hang on to that?
oh yeah, I've got all kinds of phone numbers from years gone by that I can remember, but my hell, if I meet somebody, I'm going to forget their name within the first 30 seconds usually. And I'm like, wait, what was your name again?
Or you're like, Nan, what's his name again?
Exactly, because you're like a name savant. You're like, oh, well, that's Johnny, and I know that it's Johnny because he reminds me of Johnny Lingo from the movie that I watched because he's got the same hair and he's got a 10-wife cow.
That's how I do it, though. It works.
I know you do. You got this big internal story for everyone you meet, and I'm like, I just don't know, honey. I can't remember.
It's a party. It's a party.
It is. But you know what? That is part of your charm.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for the flowers today, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. You know what? I've got to do something to remind you of me when I'm gone, right?
Oh, you mean other than the pictures that I find on my phone all the time?
Yeah, absolutely.
I found more.
That's good. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope there wasn't anything too scary on there.
Oh, you don't want me to mention it here, do you?
Oh my. Look, you know what? We talked a little bit about, hey, what does the topic today look like? And what we came up with is one of the things that's really been hitting your business a lot lately. And that was the business of energy balances for children.
Right. I'm seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And, you know, right now you got a lot of kids who are getting ready to go to school, first days of school, right? You're going to start seeing all the pictures on Instagram and Facebook and it's awesome. It's exciting. And one of the things that people can do to help get their kids geared up for a new school year is get a balance from Nan, right?
Oh, I strongly urge parents to do a balance for their kids for the school year, or if they've got a test coming up too. But what happens with kids, it's so interesting. They start to do the gaming. And what it does is it disconnects their brain from everything else. And so they kind of get in a loop in their head and they just are not present. And so in order to help them to be able to properly learn, a balance can help them get out of that loop and get them, you know, working with their motor skills and being able to memorize things and properly learn rather than being a space cadet someplace
Well,
else.
when you say in a loop, what do you mean? What happens?
Well, I can tell you for an example, I had a 6-year-old little boy in here, and he was all over the place, like upside down on the chair and all over the floor and upside down and talking and all over the place. And he had, the worms all over. He could not see still to save his life.
Yeah, it was a wiggle worm,
and his mom's like, yeah. She says he's always like this. And I said, interesting. And so he had me do his family first, and then he came and laid on my table, and I did a brain integration balance on him right off. And all of a sudden he stopped wiggling. And I'm like, are you okay? And he goes, yeah. He goes, Mom, I'm so tired. And I'm like, no wonder you're so tired. You've been wiggling and wiggling and wiggling and going 100 miles an hour. Then all of a sudden his brain kicks in and calms, and he's tired. So interestingly enough, he went in the other room, and my son handed him a Nintendo Game Boy. Is it a Game Boy? What's that called? Whatever it's called.
A Switch.
Handed it to him.
It's a Switch. Oh my
a
gosh.
Switch.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, thanks.
Game Boy. That
you had a brain fart too.
Well, that ages us, right? Oh yeah, Game Boy. That's
I am
bitchin'.
old for sure.
I remember when Game Boys came out, and I was like, oh my God, it's got Tetris. That's amazing. And you can take it anywhere. I never got a Game Boy, but my little brother and sister did. Later in life, like after I moved out, I was so jealous.
Same. I never had one. And my kids didn't even have one until they were older. So the youngers got stuff like that, but
yeah,
the olders
it's always
didn't.
the younger kids,
it was
right?
interesting because as soon as this little boy started playing the game, though, he started getting wiggly again. So it disconnected the brain again. So it's super interesting, and parents need to really be aware of how much gaming time their kids have, and then also have the tools to be able to help them come back online with their brain so that they can learn and be more present and not be all over the place, because it's frustrating for them. They don't get to sleep very well. They probably don't eat very well because they're just in chaos inside. Does that make sense?
So when you talk about not eating very well, does like that nutrition portion come into play as far as keeping the body, all here and focused and zen?
Exactly. When you're talking, when you're talking body and energy work, you have your biochemical, which is what you eat, right? You've got your structural, so your posture, that's involved. And then you have your spiritual side. So all things have to be in balance. It's kind of a triangle. Your three-legged stool that you talked about too.
Right. It works for a lot of things.
I know that it does. But nutrition is really big, and different meridians ask for different kinds of nutrition. So the meridians love the leafy greens. They love fruits and vegetables. There's certain ones though, if it's imbalanced, it doesn't want certain foods too. So really, really interesting when you're balancing anyone, including children. There's certain foods they're going to want to stay away from, and certain fruits are going to kind of gravitate to in order to keep that meridian open and keep things.
So what you're saying is the more spiritual I want to be, the less I have to eat like I do. Like, you better eat some more salads, Bradley J. Is that where that comes from? Because I've heard that a time or two.
Yeah, I tell you all the time, eat your greens. But
Is this just a ploy? Are you just trying to get me to eat more salads by saying, "Hey"?
Yeah, I'm so manipulative. Yes, you love the salads, though.
I do occasionally. Yeah, I do. But I also love,
as long as there's protein in it.
I also love barbecue and pizza and
so do
all
I.
of that stuff. So as you can tell,
I love it too. As you can tell, we're not suffering when it comes to that. But you know what? There's some foods or some meridians that like chocolate, for example. It just depends on what's going on with the body, and there's a list of foods with each meridian and each thing that I balance. So I wouldn't even try to memorize that stuff. I have books for that.
Gotcha.
But with the thousands of balances that I do, nutrition is a big part of it, and kids, they need every tool that they can get. But the great thing is I'm going to be teaching classes so that parents can do this for their kids themselves. They don't have to come to me. So, or parents out there that are my clients already, they can have kids 10 and under come and see me for free. So, but you have to be an existing client.
Yeah. So an existing client,
too,
somebody who's come in and had a balance from you, can say, hey, Nan, I've got my kiddo. Can you help them out a little bit? They're not focused, and you can do either remote or in person, right?
Exactly. Yes. And I've done lots of remotes on kids. It's really cool because for some reason their energy just gets it. Like they don't need to have an in-person. I love the in-persons though. I love working with the littles, but we can do remote just as well, and the changes still happen. So it's really, really
well,
cool.
I think that kids, the big part of that is they don't have any of those biases created yet, right? They're basically a clean slate where they go, oh, this sounds cool. Tell me more, right? They still have that, Peter Pan and the Lost Boys idea. It's not like I'm a grown up now and I can't believe in any of this hooey wooey bullshit. I've got, they're open to it.
Right. Right. There's no stories there. There's no doubt, which there could be doubt. It's okay. I can teach people, how their body talks to them.
Maybe.
Because the body has a language.
I was going to say, maybe they should doubt their doubts.
Oh my gosh, stop. Oh, you are evil.
I'm sorry.
I had a little 8-year-old that came to me, and she struggled with being super shy, and she didn't want to be shy, and she didn't make friends very easily. And she just didn't understand why. And when she found out that her throat chakra was blocked, she decided to empower herself.
How did she find out?
And we talked about, she had a balance with me, and she even had her mom leave the room because I give them that option. Do you want mom to stay?
Oh.
Do you want mom to leave the room? And she was like, no, mom, leave. And
Gotcha.
It was really, really kind of a sacred place for me to sit with her, because we talked about, tools that she could use in order to speak her truth after we balanced her, and gave her tools also of different kinds of crystals and how to find out which crystals give her the right vibration in order to keep her throat chakra open. And she carries them in her little pockets.
That's cute.
And I have seen this child switch and completely change from not being shy, being confident, speaking her truth. And she just doesn't put up with people's shit anymore. So I know her mom knows who she is. So
Her mom is a listener.
It's really
right?
cool. Her mom is a faithful listener. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
I just love kids. They're the best. They're just, it's an honor to be able to work with them.
That's very cool. Well, and kids don't take as long, right? I mean, your balance for a child is not an hour and a half like your normal sessions, right?
No. Well, and the first session is usually an hour and a half because we fill out paperwork. And a lot of times people bring in a lot of luggage. They want to unpack a lot of stuff when they first get to me. After that, they're just tune-ups, and they usually only will last about a half hour. A kid balance is 10 to 15 minutes. But like I said, I mean, I don't know about you, Brad, but if you could have balanced your kids while you were growing up, they were growing up, because I know both of us were growing up with our kids.
No kidding.
If you knew how to do that, wouldn't it be so cool? Because I know my kids would have done better in school, and I would have been a lot less stressed.
Right.
It would have been so much of a better experience, I think, for everyone involved, instead of all the frustration and, oh, your child has ADHD, and when actually their brain's literally not kicking on.
Yeah.
Like their brain still works, but the proprioceptors in their brain are switching, and that's what we balance.
Got it. Now, when you talk about them switching, right? We had a conversation with some family members a few weeks back, and they were talking about, hey, I've gone through a lot of therapy, and I've done the shit EMDR. Thank you. I'm like,
yeah,
EMR?
I can see your thumbs going.
What is that? Oh. Yeah, EMDR. And, they talked about how that is a way to get your brain, left and right side, to start working in sync.
Exactly.
Now, you are able to do that to an extent with energy balancing as well, correct? And that's what you mean when you talk about getting the brain firing together?
Actually, when we're doing a brain integration where we're having the eyes go in circles and looking at straight lines and looking far away and close up, and doing all the things so that the brain's engaging with the optics and everything is kicking in at the same time like it's supposed to. When we get into stress or we start gaming, for example, it kind of just goes in a loop. It's almost like zombie mode, just and we do that a lot when we can't sleep. It makes us very ungrounded. And so
it's like
that's
sitting on
brain integration
on your phone for hours before you go to bed. It's hard for you to shut that down, right?
Go to bed. It's so bad. The brain won't shut down. You'll actually probably dream about the stuff you're looking at.
Right. Well, that happens. And in fact, we've had, Tyson has told us, I gamed all night and I dreamt about the game I was playing, and I became this character in the game. And I'm like, oh, that's what happens when you game until your eyes literally fall.
Exactly. Well, and back to your EMDR question, there is balances that has to do with a stress balance, and it's an emotional stress balance, and you're actually doing the EMDR work with your eyes and muscle testing at the same time. The eyes have to go in a circle, and what's really interesting is when you set your goal affirmation that's opposite of what your stress is. That's what we do. You move the eyes in a circle, and a lot of times you will cut corners on your circle, and you have to keep trying to do it and then do it 3 times so that it's a perfect circle, and then go the other way. So counterclockwise. And a lot of times the eyes won't do it if you're in a stress. So it's literally making the eyes go back and forth from each hemisphere of the brain. But then you have to do it with your eyes closed, because that's a whole different thing. And so closing your eyes and then moving your eyes around in the same circle and having it smoothly go around. It's really hard, and it takes a little bit of time for it to process. But once it processes, you can have a stress that's a 10 plus and have it go down to nothing, or like a 1 or a 2. So very manageable. So kind of magic. The body is really cool if you know how to talk to it.
That really is amazing. That'd save a lot of money on like therapy bills, right?
Yes. And everyone can learn how to do it. That's the thing. We'll be teaching classes that are coming up, and some of that magic stuff is some of it. So I'm excited.
Got it. So what you're saying is, hey, sign up for these classes.
Watch for them on our website and listen on our podcast, because we'll be announcing it. And they'll be very affordable in Zoom ones. So you don't even have to come attend. Now, if you want to do what I do and you want to learn what I do, we'll be doing those classes too, and you'll want to come and join in. So, because you have to have certain hours of actual hands-on.
Right.
And you also get CE credits if you're a massage therapist or a nurse.
Oh, that's cool.
So
see, and you'd mentioned that before, and it still is like, oh, wow. That gives a lot of credence, I think, to the work you do, because a lot of people don't realize that it's recognized in that type of a manner. They're just like, oh, this is, this is hooey wooey.
Right.
But there's more to it.
And it's internationally recognized too. It's around the world, and it's 50 years old. So, really cool stuff. And the founders of it are starting to get older.
I am also 50 years old. It's not that old. God damn it. That's not funny.
I know, Beck, don't you feel so special? Touch for Health was founded in 1973.
Woohoo. Yeah, but I'm just pointing out, when you're like, yeah, this has been around for a long time. Look at this old son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
Hey, baby, I'm still older than you. So don't worry.
Exactly. So, yeah, like, give me some grace.
You have lots of grace.
Yeah, lots of grays,
so
not grace.
Grace. That's what happens when you marry an old lady.
Oh, boy. Well, you know what? You're not that old yet either. And you definitely don't act or look your age, so don't worry about it.
Thank you. Are you saying I'm immature?
Sometimes. Absolutely. Really? And we both know it. So don't try and deny it.
Hey, I got to tell you something. Yeah. My clients, I have the coolest clients. This week I have like 6 brand new clients, which is really fun.
That is cool.
They all found me intuitively. So it either just popped up in Instagram because they prayed for someone to help them, or it came up on Google. And again, they intuitively were like, God, I need help. And I need to know what I'm supposed to do because I'm super stuck, type of thing. And that's how they found me. And it's so cool to me because that's what I pray for, is that the right people find me, that I can help, and that I can help empower them to do their own work. So I have the best clients. I just have to shout out to all of them. They are the best. They do their work. They're badass, and they're empowered and amazing. And no matter where they're at in their religious journey, their spiritual journey is a sacred one. And you can still believe what you want to religiously, but spiritually, we're all the same.
I love that.
So it's pretty cool.
I love that they're
watch.
finding you that way. They're like, hey, I need some help. And then it's like, oh my God, look at this website. Who's this person? This is Nannette. What is she?
Yeah.
That is really cool. Seriously. I love hearing that.
Yeah. I'm hearing that a lot.
So when people are looking to discover what they need intuitively like that, what would you recommend them to do? Are there steps? I mean, how do they do it? Is it literally just like, please, universe, help me? I mean, what do you do?
I think a lot of people have done that, have just been like, I feel stuck. I feel sad. I feel depressed. I feel like I'm not going anywhere. I'm not living my purpose. I don't know what to do, but I feel like I'm more than this. Yeah. And it does get people feeling a little down and blue about themselves. And so they just ask the universe, send me to the right person. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know that. But I also know that I'm really picky on who I work on. And I have the best people come to me. They're amazing. Our experiences are amazing. I just stand in sacred awe of this work and of them and their badassery to show up for themselves, because this work isn't easy. But it's probably the most important work you would do in your life. Yeah,
it's definitely not easy. Very and that's, I think, a mistake that a lot of people get into is they're like, oh, I'm going to go to Nan and she's going to fix me. But you're not fixing anyone.
It's not me. Nope. No, I'm a damn good energy worker. It's your body that heals you. And is it okay if I have you share what happened with your pain after your surgery?
Sure.
Cool. Do tell.
Well, so, I'm very fortunate because I live with Nan, obviously, and I can get some, exactly. I can get some freebie balances once in a while, when she's not too busy. And, I had, a minor procedure done where, they decided, look, your belly button's not supposed to stick out like this. That's a hernia. I was like, oh yeah, no shit. It's uncomfortable. Let's fix this. And, so afterwards it was, it was painful for a week or so. And, Nan was kind enough to, do some balances with me. And it was, again, I don't ever understand how this stuff works, but she balanced me. I was at a very high pain level. She went through all of the movements and talked to my body and helped move the energy. And when she was done, I was like, that is night and day. It went from like, I just want to go cry to this is extremely tolerable. And I feel like I can move around again. It was really amazing. I still, like I said, I don't understand how it works or what is amazing about it that does this, but it works.
I got to tell you, I answer a question too. I have 9 different techniques to control pain. 9. And the one that I, 9.
Thank you, Bonnie.
We won't tell you whose garage that belongs to.
Too late. She's not going to appreciate that. She's already, yeah.
That's okay. Oh my gosh. That cracked me up. What I did to you, do you remember I just held I pain tapped you? And do you remember you said that you felt the energy go up, up past your belly button?
Yeah, you were touching my feet.
Going up your ankles, yeah. Yeah. And it was going up to your belly button and you could feel it. And you said that was the wildest thing ever. But your meridians for your stomach go from the bottoms or the top parts of your feet all the way up your legs on each side of your belly button and up your chest and around on each side of your head. So when you're tapping the end of the meridian, it shoots energy up that. Yeah. And it actually will take the pain out of a broken bone. I'm not saying don't go to the emergency room. I'm just saying that's the kind of pain that it will take away.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
It's pretty cool stuff.
It really was weird. I'm like, whoa, what is this? And yeah, it did. You were playing with my feet and I felt it in my stomach. So
you felt it.
It was a burning in my bosom, Miss Nan.
Oh no.
So on that note, I think that it's important again to emphasize to people that if you're looking for something, you want to try and manifest something, like be specific. Be grateful for what you have, but be specific what you want and where you want to be and what you want to get from that. And it sure makes things come together a lot better, right? Because the universe is going to take you very literally. And if you say, I want a new car, you might want to be specific how you get that.
Yeah, because you might get in a wreck and you don't want
like
that.
Talia.
So you have to say,
I want a new car forever. And the next thing you know, she gets in a crash. Fortunately, she wasn't injured, but she ended up getting another car as a result of that. So make sure you're specific, very freakily detailed, specific.
Like I was with you. I got exactly what I wanted in Hot Husband.
You know, it still shocks me that you would sketch out exactly what you wanted and it was me. I'm always...
all the way down to the bald head, baby.
Look, I'm always going to wonder, is this like that comedian says, he's walking along, my wife says that she did all of this and manifested me through all this. And now I always have to wonder, did I fall in love with her because I love her? Or did I fall in love with her because of some voodoo weird bullshit magic spell? I don't know.
It's the spell.
It might be some of both, but most likely it's some sort of a magic spell. But I'll never really know for sure.
I'm really an old 90-year-old crone.
Oh my gosh. Like the
you just have these beer goggles on.
Like the red woman on Game of Thrones, right?
I know. Oh, I know.
You're like, oh.
By the way, you need to get your butt home so we can finish that.
Yeah, it's time, right? It's funny because a Game of Thrones reference came up in my training today, and I'm like, oh my God, my wife and I are rewatching that whole show.
It.
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious.
What was the reference?
Shame. Yeah. I'm like, we literally watched that episode last week, like, just a couple of days ago.
Last week. Poor Cersei.
Oh, yeah, poor Cersei.
Not really, though.
Yeah. Anyway, that was weird. I was like, wait a minute. You're talking about that? We just watched it. So.
Well, and on our mini crossword too.
Yeah.
They sent mail.
A raven.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know. We're so nerdy.
Right? Yeah. Thank you for putting up with that and letting us just ramble, folks. I do want to ask you, Nan, do you have any closing remarks you want to tell everyone or any words of wisdom?
Yeah. With everything going on.
I don't know if everyone saw that or not. There's a video for this.
I rolled my eyes.
No, you got a little light bulb that appeared over your head. I was like, she's just figured out what she's going to say.
Stop
you could totally see it. In fact, I think you rolled your eyes up and looked at it. You're like,
Okay, but now I forgot what I was going to say. No, I didn't. With everything going on in the world right now, all of the fear, all of the fighting, everything, just remember to not be reactive. Come from a place of inside out. Come from a place of peace and love on the inside of you, and approach anything that you're going to do with that peace. And you'll get truth that way too. Kind of feel it right in your chest and in your gut and your solar plexus if something's true or if it's not. But really tap into that because we have a lot of confusion out there, a lot of dishonest things happening. And so you really need to pay attention and really, really get in tune with yourself and check in, calm your brain and listen to your beautiful heart.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think when you are talking to other people, remember everyone has their own perspective and their own life history that creates that perspective, right? It's that whole Ted Lasso thing, be curious, not judgmental.
Exactly.
And on that,
It's my favorite thing.
exactly, it's wonderful. And on that note, we'll see you.
On the other side of the
Thanks,
veil.
everyone.